Hi everyone, this is Arad from English for Everyone, and today in this video I'm going to answer a question asked by one of my students called Sohail, who asked how to pronounce TH in English. Well, in some languages we do not have these sounds, which are th and th, and th, okay? And English is one of the just several that has got this voice, but in this sound. But well, some languages do not have this, and that's where the problem comes from. Well, we do not have this in our mother tongue, so then when we learn English, pronouncing these gets a bit difficult. Okay, make some problems. We want to say th, but we say s, or we might say t, or d, or z. Okay, so these are the most probable outcomes when we try to say th. But we can learn pronouncing these sounds. How do we pronounce them? Well, lots of teachers, especially English teachers, English teachers, uh, just, I don't know why, but say, okay, stick your tongue out. If this is your teeth, just stick your tongue out like this and pronounce it like this, and it makes everywhere wet. It makes silly sounds as well. So you really do not need to stick your tongue out. If you watch people speaking, you won't see their tongue coming out, going in. But teachers exaggerate on this point a lot, and they just it makes it even more difficult. But to be honest, you really do not need to stick your tongue out. Inside, you can do that, and I'm going to tell you how. Well, this is this is the way I talk. Okay, so I do not really stick the tongue out. Okay, if this is my front tooth, okay, what we do, and this is the tongue. What we do to pronounce this one, we just bring the tongue close to the tip of the tongue, tip of the teeth, and just a bit out, just a bit, not the whole thing, just a bit, but we do not push it against the tooth, okay? Or we do not put the two teeth, the lower one and the upper one, on each other. We never do that. Otherwise, we'll end up pronouncing s, okay? What we need is to have this separated. We do not need our tooth on each other. Okay, so there should be a bit of space in between these two, and we need our tongue over there. Well, we do not push against our tooth. Okay, with our tongue. And then you need to flow the air just around your tongue and let it come out. Okay, just like a balloon that is, leaving air out. Okay, and the interesting thing is that if you record your voice pronouncing this correctly, and with lots of other people, if it's played back to you, you won't recognize which one is yours because it's not a voiced one. Because our vocal cords are not involved producing this sound. So if it's correctly pronounced, you should not hear your own voice. Okay? I'm just telling you these things so that when you record yourself, when you play it back to yourself, test these things as well, and then you can understand if you're doing it right or not. Okay? So this is the tooth, this is the tongue, just a millimeter or even less, nearly touching your tooth, and then we just pronounce it. Okay, just repeat it after me. So if you find it silly, do it in your room or somewhere that's away from others. Okay, and repeat it after me. It will help. Okay, and the other one is similar, but if this is the tooth, then you need to take your tongue over here. Just bend it a bit just a bit. Bring it up here, okay, where is very close to your gum, but do not push it against your gum. Otherwise, you will pronounce d, okay? D, d, d is something that when we push our tongue against the gum and then just pull it backward, okay? Then the sound produced is d, okay? D, 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 okay? But if we want to pronounce the, we have to leave a bit of space between the two and blow the air out, and that is pronounced th. Try to make the sound of a bee or a fly, okay? Okay, as you can see, my mouth is open. I'm not putting my tooth on each other, and I am not sticking my tongue out, okay? That's the way we do it. All right. The. Okay, now we know how to pronounce it, and we need to have our tongue relaxed. Okay, now we know the place of articulation. Now we need to just practice. Just copy what we were just doing and do it for some time, okay? The more you do that, the better. But we pronounce and then but when we want to pronounce the word, we find that the problem is still there. Okay, I say for an hour, or I say for an hour, but when I want to pronounce thin, I say sin, or when I want to pronounce they, I say they. Okay, that is natural, don't worry. What we need to do is to just do that practice on the words as well. I'm going to show you a way to practice these things, and that is, imagine this is a long th sound, okay? Then it will be pronounced like this. Thin, 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 thin. Then we make it a bit shorter, okay? Call it a bit shorter. Thin, 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 think, 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 thanks, 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 thanks. Okay, you can do this with other words as well. Again, thick, 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 thick. Okay, so start with a long sound and then cut it shorter, shorter, and shorter. Up to the bit that you find it that is only a th sound pronounced. Okay, not a long one. All right. So this is how I practice, and this is how I teach my students, and that has been fruitful, and lots of students found this way very helpful. I hope this is helpful for you as well. You find it easy to follow as well. But the other thing is the words that have got this sound in the middle. By the time you master this sound in the beginning of the sentence, then pronouncing in the middle or end of the sentence, end of the word is not that difficult. Okay, so when I easily say thick, think, thank, thin, or these kind of things, then both is easier. Or then they, these, those. When I can pronounce these things, then father, mother, brother, other, these things are also easy to pronounce. Okay, it doesn't matter where it appears, then we can pronounce it. So I found that the ones that are in the beginning are the ones, easy ones to practice on, and then when we have learned those, then pronouncing the ones in the middle are not really that difficult. Okay, so to practice, I suggest practicing words, you know, the minimal pairs. Okay, we call these minimal pairs. Okay, sometimes we pronounce, for example, something like this, thin or they, and we say we're practicing, and after a while, we really do not know if we said they or we said they. Both sound the same to us after a long time. When we pronounce it for several times or for many times, then we say they. Oh yeah, I've got this. I'm pronouncing it right now. No, our ear is not helping anymore because we have said that many times. We have mixed everything up. The best thing is to recall ourselves and pronounce the two. When I say they, I might say they or they, and I really hear they in any case. But when I pronounce they and then they, then pronouncing and recognizing the sounds would be much easier. When you pronounce the minimal pairs, both of the words, then if we find them similar, if we find that they are nearly the same thing, then there is something wrong. Then we are pronouncing one close to the other one. But if we find a difference between the two words that we are pronouncing one at a time, one after the other, then it means we are pronouncing in the right way. Okay, so thin, sin, think, sink, thanks, tanks, thick, tick, and the rest for the other ones. So the first stage is the sound itself. Let's work on the sound itself and pronounce it for seconds, and when we find it, we've got it, then we feel that yeah, we can pronounce it, then we come to the words and we start with a long th or the sound, and then try to cut it shorter and shorter. And then when we master the words, when we master the ones that start the word, we go to the ones that have a th sound in the middle or at the end. And after that, it's not a bad idea to try some tongue twisters. Okay, let's now try some tongue twisters.